Welcome. I'm chatting today with Lori Bernardo, Senior Marketing Consultant at WEO Media. Lori's been talking with me about the trends that she's seeing in dental offices that are in various stages of reopening, and the questions that they're struggling with around their marketing efforts when they might be experiencing a reduced patient population or limited appointment times, which affect overall revenue. So Lori, why is SEO so important during this time of COVID?
Yeah, Rosalie, that's a really great question. So before I answer that, I want to, kind of clarify, really what is SEO and how does it work? It's really important for a client to understand how Google works, right? And how the search engines work. And then we know how that affects and what we have to do to affect how you rank. So Google is very interested in a great user experience. Users, people like you and I who are doing a search. So when you search for anything, red shoes, black hat, best dentist in town, Google's trying to figure out what is the best answer to that question or that query, right? So how do they know if you're the best dentist in town? Well, you have to tell them, right? And so we have to tell them in the information we put in and around your website. So that's essentially a really broad stroke on what SEO is. It's things that we do to your website, around your website, your whole online footprint, so that Google knows the answer to that query and that you fit that query. And that's what really helps you show up in the searches. And that's the most important place to search up on is the organic. So it really affects your organic ranking. That's where 95% of the traffic to your website will come from the organic ranking. So that's essentially how it works. Now, why is it so important now to do SEO? Well, honestly, what we're seeing, trends we're seeing is that a lot of things are affecting where you're showing up. And people are searching for different things right now, right? They're searching for things like safest dentist, dentists with safety protocols, PPE, all of these kinds of things. So how are you going to show up in those searches? Well, you have to put that information in there, number one. Number two, what we're seeing is that with these reduced revenues, with these reduced patient flow, and all of the closures, we're seeing a lot of people stopping all their investment in SEO. And that is a gigantic mistake. Because what SEO is it's really the long game. It's like running a race or a marathon. Now, if you've watched a horse race, or if you've watched a marathon, you know that the runners and the contestants, the really fast ones run in a pack, right? Mm-hmm. They're at the front, they're at the pack. Right. And it's really sometimes hard to break through that pack, right? So how do you do it? Well, you do it a couple ways. You could train harder, right? Or you could hope that somebody falls, right? Or stops.
Right.
Well, what's happening now is people are stopping. They're taking their investment and they're just stopping their investment in SEO. And it stops all the work that's being done, all of the gains we've made with a website, with your ranking, and it just stops. So now, like that race, you sit down, and it allows all the other slower runners to gain ahead. So if you stop your SEO now, everything you've done up to now, all the training, all the time, all the money you spent, you'll drop like a tank. And it's going to be so much harder to get you back up there.
Right. Well, and to your point, that it is a race. It's a marathon, as you described. And you are going to have always the most competitive runners out at the front of the pack. You'll have some that are lagging behind. And not only is this allowing those perhaps slower competitors to catch up, but your fast competitors are way off in the distance and trying to make up that gap when a lot of the work that's been done over the years and the months has been to close that gap. Now you've just widened it again. And now you're competing with so many more people that have chosen to keep their marketing going. So great illustration, I think. I love the marathon analogy. A lot of people that I talk with think that SEO is a one-time cleanup of their website. We'll put some things in place and we're good to go. And they don't realize that it is like that marathon or, swimming against the tide, right? You got to keep going. Otherwise, you're going to start floating backwards. So I
Yeah.
love that analogy.
You
Tell
know
me a
what?
little bit. Oh, go ahead.
So also, so now you think about what's happening then, okay? So maybe you're not a really fast runner, so you've never really quite been able to break through that pack. Well, a bunch of those fast runners have stopped, okay? So
Mhm.
now we're seeing an opportunity that didn't exist for a lot of people. People who couldn't break
Right.
through the pack all of a sudden now can get way ahead. And that is, we're not gonna see that opportunity again for a long, long time. So I was just talking to a client yesterday. I thought this was amazing when he told me this. This is a practice that they just kept their pedal down on their SEO. They just did not take it off for a second. And they even dropped during COVID in the closures, they dropped 2 major health insurances that they were taking, right? That had
Wow.
a lot of their patients. They have been getting between 35 and 50 new patients a month for the last 3 months.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
this is a new practice, and they have just not relented with their marketing efforts. They turned their Google ads back on as soon as they were open again, and they are growing. And what's also happening, we have to keep in mind around this time, and why you want to keep ahead of this is that, unfortunately, there's been a lot of practices that have closed, and that's a problem. It's a problem for patients. They don't know where to go. So when they're searching for someone who has everything they're looking for and safety protocols put in place, it's a no-brainer, and they're getting a lot of patients that way.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about what you recommend practices do in terms of adding information to their social media, to their website, around the safety protocols, as you mentioned, that they're putting into place. I know that social traffic and review traffic can be a huge indicator for ranking a website. They play together very nicely. And so having that social media presence alongside whatever you're doing on your website is crucial. What can doctors and practices do to help assure patients that their experience will be a safe one?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rosalie. It's really not very complicated. The first thing I recommend is make a list of all the things you've done, right? So let's be really clear on what we've done. Make a very comprehensive list on everything you've put into place. Now, let's be honest, dentists, our profession has been way ahead of the curve on preventing cross-contamination for a long time. And a lot of what we're doing is stuff we've always been doing, with a few extra new hat tricks thrown in, right? But this is the time for you to toot your horn and tell people all of these things that you've done, and be very, very big about it. So I would suggest make the list, right? So you always know what you're talking about and the message is about.
Mm-hmm.
And then make a video. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. It'd be nice if you can have a nice professional video done, but that is expensive and takes time. You could just grab your cell phone and walk through your office and do the patient experience, right? Start in the parking lot. Here's what's going to happen when you arrive. We're going to take your temperature. You're going to call us when you arrive. When you walk in, this is what you're going to see. Susie's going to greet you at the front desk. She's going to take your touchless payment, and just kind of walk them through the whole thing. Let them see if you've added air filtration, if you've put extra PPE in, things like that. Show everybody and get that message out there on your website, on your social media. Now, for your social media, I mean, you should just be blasting that message, everything. Put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook, send in a newsletter. Any place you can think of, you want to get that message out. And try to be fun and lighthearted in it. Be silly, because I'll tell you why. And this is going to help you also, right? We are scared, right? Everybody's scared. We got to, we can't make light of this, but we have to lighten it, right? So make the message interesting, make it informative, and maybe poke a little fun at yourself and your, all your gear or whatever you're wearing, and let people know they're going to be safe. And if you do something really creative and fun, people will comment, people will share. And when people start commenting and sharing on all your social posts, that helps your SEO. Google loves that, because Google wants to know who's doing stuff out there, who's putting good information out there. They're going to see that engagement and go, oh, when somebody searches safe, safe dentist, safe practices, whatever they're searching for in Google, they're going to be like, that social media post the other day was, talking about how great you guys are doing this. So it's a quick, easy way to do it, and it's great, a great way to get the word out there.
That's great. And even doing a Zoom like we're doing today,
Oh yeah.
you can have your patient or your staff come in and different people can talk about different things. So very easy to put something together and have your website company help you. Before we close, any final thoughts, Lori?
Oh gosh, just really get the word out there, and don't be modest. What we're seeing is an interesting trend. What I'm noticing a lot of. I've been really busy. I've had a lot of new clients call me, people that never really thought about doing marketing, and they are ready to start new businesses. And
Yeah.
I'm seeing that a lot. I see new practices being bought and opened. Because of all these closures, the interest rates are low, so people are investing in these businesses knowing that dentistry is coming back. We know it is. So, this is a time for entrepreneurs, right? If you want to do well, you've got to not be afraid, and you've got to dig in there, and you got to grab that opportunity. And it's here. And we're here to help, in any way that we can. Our goal is your goal, to keep, to help you in your business and help you be successful. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And like Lori said, you can find a wealth of information on our website at WEO Media, WEOmedia.com. You can look in the links below for access to our monthly newsletter, where we're sharing resources for practices to use during this time of COVID. We have free social posts. We have lots of services that can help you in your goal to market your business to the community around you. So thank you so much, Lori, for your time today, and we'll talk again soon.